I am joined by someone really special, someone I met 3 years ago, but even then, he struck me as someone extremely different. Pranay Gupta. So happy to have you here. Pranay, for those who don't know him, is a mystic philosopher. He's an expert on Indian and world spirituality. And Pranay's modules on advanced spirituality, power talks, mystic talks for public and corporate audiences have won global acclaim. Pranay is also a director on mystical themes, a theatre personality and playwright. His original productions, such as From Kabir to Kavi and Soul Stir, have been acclaimed by world luminaries for their path-breaking spiritual content. Pranay and his partner Shohini Gupta run the socio-cultural philanthropic commune TAS, whose initiatives such as Theatre Against Drugs for addicts, Geethamalya for underprivileged children, and Shohag for women empowerment are well known and have become movements. Presently, Pranay is collating his discourses on mind, body, spirit themes for various book series. Welcome, Pranay. And thank you so much for joining me here at Cafe Conversations. We're really excited to have you here.
It's a true privilege. Ipsita, thank you for having me here. And I must say, you brought me out of my stupor. And, finally we are doing this. I'm so glad. I've always been a big fan of your persona, your poetry, and also the fact that, you have these diverse interests. For those friends who are not deeply familiar with Ipsita, I mean, everybody knows Ipsita in their own way, but I must talk about, your creative pursuits apart from your brilliant career as a hotelier. So the first thing is that which struck me was, of course, your poetry. And I guess that's where our friendship really started,
Absolutely.
And thereafter, I got to know that you're also an enthusiast on heritage. You write on several other themes. Your poetry has been published in international e-zines and anthologies. And I was very intrigued also by your other projects. For example, Kolkata Cocktail, where you play a protagonist, that poetry film. And your book actually really struck me, of love, longing, and random pondering, which for those who are not aware is available on Amazon.in and at select stores. So Ipsita, thank you for having me here, and my gratitude for everybody else also who's been able to join us this evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pranay. Yes, really, really happy to do this. It's been a long time coming, and well, it's online, but that's the way life has gone these days. And I'm going to say hello to a few friends who joined us. Preeti Goel says she's really excited. Thank you, Preeti, for being here. Devinder Kaur Gill says interesting. Devinder Kaur, she's an absolutely wonderful spiritual human being herself, and very, very happy to have her on the other side. Shimona Mani says hello. She waves. We are waving back at her. Gopa, of course, we both know Gopa. Pranay. Gopa says hello, Ipshita and PG. I think she calls you PG.
Yeah, she's GB for me.
Oh, wow. Okay, PG and GB. Hi. Gopa, hello. Shayan Mukherjee. That was a lovely introduction. Shayan is a wonderful musician and an even better human being. And then Vishwaroop. Vishwaroop is a very dear friend of mine. Says, hi, Ipshita. Thanks, Vishwaroop, for always being there. Amazon Gold says, Roos here. Hi, Roos. And Manoj Kumar says, interesting. So that's the comments till now. And, well, Pranay, it's a beautiful season. It's a beautiful season to have this conversation. We've entered one of my most favorite seasons, autumn, Shorotkal in Bengal. We've just also entered Devi Pokho. This is the season to celebrate Bengal, but this is also a time when at least people in this part of the world enters a time for accentuated spiritual awakening. It's the 19th, and this year saw this curious amalgamation of Vishwakarma Pujo and Mohalaya. The season changes from Vishwakarma Pujo. The clouds become fleecy, the sky becomes blue and colorful with kites in the sky. So we've just gone through this huge, beautiful festive day, right? Vishwakarma Pujo, come Mohalaya this year. What is Vishwakarma Pujo? Vishwakarma Jayanti is a day for celebration of Vishwakarma, a Hindu god, the divine architect. He is considered a Swayambhu and a creator of the world. He constructed the holy city of Dwarka, where Krishna ruled, the Maya Sabha of the Pandavas, and was the creator of many fabulous weapons for the gods. He is also called the divine carpenter and is mentioned in the Rig Veda, and is credited with Sthapatya Veda, the science of mechanics and architecture. What is Mahalaya? We've just been through these phenomena, right? Pitri Paksha. We've just Mahalaya. What is Mahalaya? Mahalaya is associated with Pitri Paksha. Pitri Paksha is considered the Shraddh time in the Hindu way of thinking. In the southern and western India, it falls in the second Paksha, which is the fortnight of the Hindu lunar month of Bhadrapada, which is September, and follows the fortnight immediately after Ganesh Utsav. It begins on the Pratipad, which is the first day of the fortnight, ending with no moon day, known as the Sarva Pitri Amavasya, Pedalla Amavasya, Mahalaya Amavasya, or simply Mahalaya. At the end of Pitri Paksha, Devi Paksha begins. So Mahalaya is actually the end of Pitri Paksha, and then onwards Devi Paksha begins, which is where we are right now. And while we just spoke about Vishwakarma Puja and Mahalaya, two of the phenomena we've just gone through, we've got a whole lot of friends saying hello. So I am going to say hello to a few people. My mom's here. Hi, Ma. She says hello, I'm here.
Hello,
hi,
Auntie.
Rajesh, she's just joined. He said he's a big friend. Mallika is one of my darlings. Mallika Singh is here. Shohini Gupta. Shohini, hi, Shohini. Shohini, I'm saying hi to you. She says excited, and I'm so glad you are. Gopa gives us both a wink. Vani Goel says hello, so excited. Joyati Banerjee, thanks for joining. Sanchita Vichare, hi, Ipshita. Nice seeing you all. Orindamda is he's an absolute supporter. He's published a lot of my poems. Very fine, very famous publisher. Orindamda, thank you for joining. Rituparna says hi. Rituparna Khan, hi. Roshni Sarkar. Sandeepan, who's a brother of mine, excellent singer. Sandeepan says interesting. And Anita Gupta says profound. Well, yes, this is a profound season, isn't it? However, there's an aberration this year. There's a 35-day gap between Mahalaya and Mahashashti. Normally, just the day after Pitri Paksha, we have Devi Paksha, and the puja is kind of start, but this time there's a 35-day gap. This is attributed to a phenomenon called Malamash, or the unholy month. And why is it the Malamash, or the unholy month? Because there are two new moons. There are two Amavasyas this time. So, Durga Puja normally happens in the month of Ashwin, but now this year it will take place in the next month, which is Kartik in the Hindu philosophy. Ashwin is Malamash due to the two new moons, and this year the two new moons are on 17th September, and there's another one on October 16th, the 29th day of Ashwin in the Hindu calendar. Therefore, technically, the Pratipad or Durga Puja starts off from the 17th of October. Now, what is Durga Puja? We all know what is Durga Puja. This festival is a form of worship of the mother goddess or Shakti. Shakti incarnates as goddess Durga, inculcating the purest power of all the gods to kill the Asura named Mahishasur. While all of this is mythological lore, it also has deep symbolic significance in recent times and will always be relevant. Durga is the amalgamation of powers given to her by the Devatas, which are in the forms of the 10 different weapons that she holds in 10 hands. Yes, Sajal Kumar says intense and enlightening. Thank you. This is extremely an intense period. This is an intense period. Vivor Divedi says excited. And Gopa says, I want Fiji to read your poetry. Well, we shall see, Gopa. Thank you for saying that. And Sarlaji, I'm very, very happy to have you here, Sarlaji. Sarlaji says, hi, Ipshita. So we've entered Devi Paksha, or the Paksha for Devi worship. And our conversation today is awakening beyond the mundane. So we've just crossed over to a very spiritually intense period. It's a period of celebration, it's a period of beauty, but it's also an intense spirit of there is an underlying intense spirituality about this time. Shakti is the primordial cosmic energy and represents the dynamic forces that are thought to move through the entire universe in Hinduism, and especially Shaktiism, a major tradition of Hinduism. Pranay, I ask you, tell us a little more about this ancient cosmic power celebrated in Hinduism and also beyond Hinduism, please. Pranay?
Yes, Ipsita. The way I like to talk about, is my voice coming through all right, Ipsita?
Yes, you are audible. I hope he's audible to the audience as well.
So, is that all right? Yeah. So,
absolutely fine. Carry on.
You see, the beauty of Vedic knowledge and its adjuncts, you know, I'm talking about Tantra and so on, is that everything is described in terms of energies. Now, like you said, Shakti is literally pure energy, okay? Beautiful. But there's another complementary part to it, which is pure consciousness. You see, this is the beauty of Shiv and Shakti. Neither of them can be talked about one without the other. So they're complementary forces, but they're opposite forces also. And Ipsita, in nature, it is only when opposites or the polarities collide does something come about. You see, we are taught about the Big Bang. We are taught about the changing seasons. We are taught about day and night. So one without the other seems rather monochromatic, right?
Beautiful.
Now,
Beautiful.
Before I come deeper into Shiv and Shakti, Purusha and Prakriti, I'd like to tell you a little about the universe and the cosmos in terms of Hinduism, so that we can put it in the right context. It's always better to start from the largest, you know. Now, interestingly, Indian thought describes all of creation in terms of very strange things. It talks about the cosmos in terms of dance, Nataraj. Everything, the cycle of creation and destruction is described as a dance. Isn't that amazing? You see, that's entirely different from the usual concepts which you'd have, linear concepts. So the dancer and the dance are not separate, Ipsita. You see, when a dancer dances, the dancer and the dance are together. So the beauty and the singularity of Vedic knowledge is that it tells us that God is here and now. The dance is here and now. It is not like creation happened once and then God is watching over us to judge us. No, the dance is happening. The dancer is there. And we look at it usually in terms of Nataraj. But Ipsita, what if I say there's a Natrani? You see, so it's a very beautiful, yeah. So again, the cosmos is described in terms of music, the flute player, Krishna. Okay, so the melody is playing throughout the universe. Okay.
Wow.
Again, if you go into Taoism, yin and yang, these opposites, they form the circle. In Zen, you see the complete circle. In Tao, you'll see the yin and the yang, right? So these forces of the Purusha and the Prakriti together create what? See, the consciousness is introversial. What is your consciousness, my consciousness? It's inward, it's introversial. To extrovert that, to make it delightful in expression is Prakriti. And Prakriti is Durga. Prakriti is Shakti. So it is the external part and the internal part, both in sync. The meditative part and the delightful part. You see, delight is the main thing when we come to Shiva and Shakti. Not only is she an energy, she's the energy of delights. And for example, the Maitreya Upanishad in the Yajurveda tells us existence is joy, existence is delight. No joy, no delight. Therefore, first you understand that everything is delight. Now, if you've missed the bus by not being delightful, it's nobody's fault. You should know delight within you because that is the quality of Shakti. So that is the journey we start on. And in that context, Ipsita, I would like to read a piece from your book, okay, which struck
Thank
me as
you.
relevant. Yeah,
Wow.
which struck me as relevant in this context, because here we are talking about the feminine and the masculine, like two pillars of a temple, okay? Now, two pillars, for example, may be needed for a structure. One pillar is never enough. But Khalil Gibran, the Lebanese American poet, says, the pillars cannot be together. They are the same, they're similar, but they have to be a little apart. So Prakriti has her own expression and Purusha has his own expression, right? So your poem called Stay by Ipsita Ganguly. Stay with me, she says, without bounds, without bonds, without ties, no chains. Stay if you want, if you may, stay. Only and only if there is no other way to find yourself without me. And you know, Ipsita, it's almost like Durga is telling Shiv this, you know. It's that conversation, the tantric conversation between them. And she says, you know what, Shiva, you're great, but can you find yourself without me? You know, the question remains. So the complementariness and the separateness, the individuality is profound. There is no inferior, there is no superior. So in the tantras, they have the agams and the nigams. In one side, Shiv asks Shakti. The other side, Shakti asks Shiv. So it's a beautiful duality, but eventually a oneness. So that is the crux of Shakti. And in a single sentence, it's the energy of delight. Yes, Ipsita, over to you.
Firstly, Pranay, I mean, the way you read my poetry, I don't know, this is it, you just give, I say this with all my heart, you know, you just give it a different dimension altogether. And to put it in the context of Shiva Shakti, I mean, could anything be better than that? Thank you. Really, I mean,
that was spontaneous, the way you read it, know, that was very spontaneous. Yeah.
I really have no words for the way, and what you said is so beautiful, because yes, the two pillars, the concept of two pillars of Shiva and Shakti being together, Purush and Prakriti, the yin and the yang, the basis of creation. It's absolutely wonderful to hear you, Pranay. And of course, we have loads and loads of comments. We've got Aprajita Sharma. She's a friend. She's joined us. She says beautiful. Devinder Kaur says well said. Vishwarup says beautiful poem. And yes, thank you, Vishwarup. But beautifully read by Pranay, of course. Rajesh, says lovely rendition. Yes, truly lovely rendition. Shayan Mukherjee says this is beautiful. I love Stay too. Thank you so much, Shayan. Then who else is there? Vani Goel says, oh my God, I have no words, so profound. Yes, truly. My mother says beautiful. Shayan Mukherjee, yes, love the reading. Devinder Ji says amazing, Pranay. Gopa says Gurudev. The way he translated the poem of yours, giving it a different context altogether, I totally agree. You totally added a different dimension. But that's going to be Gopa. She's going to be joking with us this whole evening, and I look forward to that. So, yes, that is truly beautiful. Shakti is one of the most powerful concepts that we have going in life. But there's another very, very important concept also in the Vedic Hindu way of thought, which is that of bhakti. Bhakti, prema, love, devotion. These are two very powerful concepts that Shakti you spoke of. Bhakti is commonly known, of course, as the worship of Krishna. But before I ask you more about Bhakti, after the beautiful, beautiful talk on Shakti, let me first read an excerpt from your forthcoming book. Yes, everybody, Pranay is coming up with this wonderful book on his spiritual thinking. He does these lovely videos which are available to all who are Pranay's friends. But now he's coming out with a book, and I have the exclusive privilege of reading out excerpts from his book even before it is available to all. Here is one excerpt. Radha exhibits the highest form of love, of prema, for Krishna. Hers is pure bhakti, pure devotion. And through that very bhakti, that prema, Radha comes to the ultimate joy, ananda or paramananda, supreme cosmic bliss. and that love is always available to all of us. I'm going to repeat that line. That love is always available to all of us. This is very critical. All of us can manifest the highest prema or divine love within our beings. Of course, Radha took it to a different level, and Krishna even tells Radha that her love has made him hapless before it. Even God feels humbled by the kind of love which is a rare, rare devotee like Radha is able to generate. So ultimately, love and the feeling of it as a deep vibrational current, love or the feeling of it as a deep vibrational current, which underlines all things in our life, is the highest realization. This is the most beautiful line, Pranay. Love is the highest realization. It is the highest lesson for being blissful in life, for manifesting happiness, which is everything in life. This last line just says it all. Love is a deep vibrational current which underlies all things in our life. It is the highest realization. It is the highest lesson for being blissful in life, for manifesting happiness, which is everything in life. I'll also read out an excerpt from your play, From Kabir to Kavi, the Bhakta character. The Bhakta character speaks, yes, I am that one whom some have called pure consciousness, some the essence of love, some the heart of the self, some the Atma, the witnessing soul. I cannot be seen through outer eyes, but realized only through the eyes of love. And you have seen. Embrace me as your essence and free yourself from all that you fear. You have nothing to be afraid of, for you are a child of this wondrous universe and carry its wonders within yourself. Embrace me and dissolve in joy. I am the seed of you, the reality of your happiness. Know me as your inward joy, and let this joy flow through everything that you do, for only then you will be fulfilled. Life is too short to feel miserable. Dance, dance with delight, for you carry the fragrance of the divine, infinite intelligence, as does every being. Dance, dance with delight, for you carry the fragrance of the divine, infinite intelligence, as does every being. Pranay, utterly beautiful. Please tell us more about Bhakti.
Thank you so much, Ipsita. And I must point out that actually the play excerpt from Kabir to Kavi and the other one from Mahabharat, which I had once sent you, were actually, these are co-creations with Shohini, you know. So we'd actually wrote them together and performed them together as well. So yeah. And this reminds me about the essence of Bhakti. Really, it's about the vibration within every atom, within every molecule of the universe. The power of Shakti is making joy, prema, love, all these different attributes dance. You see, that is a very mystical way of looking at it. But in modern quantum physics, it's described in terms like the smallest particle is also vibrating with the highest energy. So you see, the metaphors used in Vedanta and in Tantra are very relevant. What it says is, at the smallest level also, the largest has a part to play. And then we come to prema. Prema is both the highest quality as well as the most humble quality which we carry within our beings, the capacity of which, for example, a human being's capacity for prema is unlimited. You see? So that's very interesting. If you think about what is an infinity within you, that is the capacity to love. That is in the capacity to love, you're an emperor, you're a queen. You see? Now it's up to us how much we want to miser the love. And how much. So Radha spills her heart out. Meera spills her heart out. Sri Chaitanya spills his. That is available to us. And to put it in a single line, prema is really, like we talked about, pure energy, Shakti. So prema is the energy of pure love, It's the energy of trust. You see, again, people equate prema with bhakti, devotion. But I'm talking about the essence of it. See, to do that, Ipsita, you need trust. You need trust in the whole existence that you can give that much, so much love. You see, a lover is someone you trust with your love. So
True.
the samarpan, the surrender, which Krishna tells Arjun in the Mahabharata, he shows him his Vishwaroop. And Arjun says, I am petrified, O Lord. And then Krishna expounds bhakti to him. And Krishna says, I'm surrendered. And he begins trusting not only the Lord, but himself also. So prema, again, has that effect. And you know how it's described in Vedanta is very interesting, Ipsita. It says that a room, even if it's dark for 1,000 years, you bring one lamp and the darkness of 1,000 years gets dispelled. You see, that is called the torch of prema, the flame of prema. Sri Ramakrishna used to say that beneath our bones, within our marrow, within the deepest essence resides prema. And a similar thing in a different language, the Sufis have expressed, in terms of ishq and so on. Only the words are different. Okay. Now, in this context, if I might just tell you, Rabindranath Tagore was once on his boat, and there was a lamp on his boat, and his mood for writing was not so profound that evening, which was rare for him. So what he did was he put off that lamp, and then he realized that the moonlight flooded his boat. And then it reminded him that it's already available, this light of being, and that light of being is prema. It echoes the Upanishadic Mahavakyas. Aham Brahmasmi, within you is the highest capacity. Or the Sufis say Anal Haq, or Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma. Everything is part of the same oneness. And Ipsita, if I might, I found that there are two poems of yours which talk about love and light together in slightly different ways. The first is called Love and Light. So I'd like to read that.
Please.
So this is Love and Light by Ipsita Ganguly. If love is a religion, let me light its lamp. Be filled with its faith, bask in its glow. Let the good cheer flow. If love is a religion, I chose to live in its hope. Its essence fulfill me, its strength uplift me. If love is a religion, don't make peace with the rest. Submit yourself to only its best. The thought of you lit up in rainbow hue that evening when I looked askance and caught a glance of vibrant cheer and rhythm that held out a silent whisper and a hidden smile. Darkness lit up in mellow hues of hope, softness, and the faith in dreams, fleeting yet silently seeping from the vacant pits of nothingness, subtle but iridescent radiance. And the second one is very short. It's called Love Is. Again, your poem. Love is wanting to be with you, no one but you. Even when the clouds are dark and I know I will break into raging thunder, yet I know it is only you who will be able to show me my rainbow.
Pranay, just to have my poems read in the context of what we are discussing is so meditative for me. Seriously, I mean, what we are discussing today is something very close to your heart and to my heart. And to have my poems, which are my scribbles, my musings, my thoughts, to be read in this context is such an honor. Thank you for that.
It's my privilege, and they're brilliant. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I will also just read out a few comments of our viewers. Anupama Agarwal Bajaj says, the delightful aspect of life is amazing. I'm on the bus of delight, thankfully. How beautiful. Sarla Balchandranji says, wow, great. Arindam Das says, an illuminating session. Thanks, Ipsita. Thank you for joining us, Arindam Das. Devinder D says, beautiful. Devinder D, always very special to have you. Anupama Agarwalji says, well, I lost that comment. She also, she says, love is infinite. So true, very true. Rajeshi says, loved it. Thank you, Rajeshi, for being here. Devinderji says, so beautiful, Ipshita. Kavita Singhal says, wow, beautiful. Visharup says, lovely poem, Ipshita. Thank you, Visharup. Kavita Singhalji says, lovely. Miriam, thank you so much for joining us from the other part of the globe. She says, wow, beautiful. Gopal says, beautiful rendition. Meghnata says, intense and so beautiful. Thank you so much, everybody who's here with us. And what you mentioned, of course, about, when we talk of bhakti literally means devotion. Bhakti cannot come without love. Love is the essence of trust. And that is the essence of life. But what does all the bhakti, love, prema, consciousness do to us, right? It gives us ananda. It gives us bliss. So if the cosmic power, Shakti, makes us do the dance, makes us trust, propels the bhakti, then bhakti leads to ananda or bliss. An excerpt from your book. Ananda, the underlying quality of cosmic bliss, elation, and supreme happiness, has been one of the highest values of Indian civilization. The universe itself and all beings within it are embodiments of the supreme bliss, Ananda Swarupa. Joy is the very fabric of all existence. It is the esoteric substratum of the cosmic matrix, and finding joy in our own lives is a process of self-realization. It essentially needs us to free the mind with guts, doing spontaneously, naturally, a moment-to-moment experience of freshness and vitality. And the most special part of the principle of Ananda is a concern for the happiness of all, not just of human beings. Very potent in today's COVID-ridden world. Ananda is a concern for the happiness of all, not just human beings. It is about the joy within the environment and within all beings. Ananda embraces the idea of a happy ecosystem. Another excerpt from your play, Kunti, Karna and Mahabharata. We live with an immense cosmic vastness. We breathe and exist and play our part within a universe of great beauty and unimaginable energies. There are so many dimensions to life that perhaps no human literature has been able to capture the entire essence of this universal existence. It seems that the energy of life is too big for us to contain within the pages of one book. The play of creation is too vast, too chaotic, and within this chaos stands mankind. Man is a baffling mix of contradictions, capable of the highest love and the deepest hate, capable of the greatest insight and blind ignorance, capable of the vastness of compassion and of the vilest jealousy. Pranay, something about Ananda, please.
Ipsita, the beauty about Vedic knowledge, Vedanta, and I just don't mean it in a very narrow religious context. I mean it as a product of Indian civilization which represents the highest flowering of realization, is that it's able to encapsulate the vastest concepts in the simplest ways. Like we have the formula E is equal to MC square. So at a mystical level, what the rishis did was they gave us some interesting little formulae. Sat, Chit, Ananda. Okay? From truth to consciousness to joy. So Ananda is the peak. It's the summit. It's very interesting. I mean, normally, religion is not looked at in terms of joy, in terms of delight. Rather, it's about repentance and so many other baggage, religion has got.
So true.
Also,
so true.
Yeah. Also, if you look at Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram, again, Satyam, truth, Shivam, standing for consciousness, and Sundaram, beauty. And beauty and Ananda always go together, It's like, I think Keats says, beauty is truth, truth is beauty. So he's joined the dots, And Rabindranath's, of course, life credo was like that. Also, Ananda has one very interesting aspect, If you look at the words for enlightenment, if you look at the words for highest realization, in Buddhism, in Hinduism, all Eastern religions, it's interesting because it's not so much God realization, it's about moksha or moksha, as we'd say, in an English country. Or these have practically become part of our English lexicon as well. Or nirvana,
Actually,
nirvana, of name of a rock band of all things. They're so universal. The name of a great film is Avatar. Okay, so nirvana, a punk band based out of Seattle, grunge band. So it's interesting. It's about freedom. It's about freeing the mind. See, it's about freeing the mind, body, and spirit. Okay, so Ananda goes with freedom. Ananda goes with joy and delight. And in Vedanta, there's a very interesting way to describe Ananda. It says that, be like the bees, like the honeybees. The honeybees are busy doing their work. They're not renounced the world. They've not become monks or hermits. They're the hardest working creatures. They work with each other. They cooperate with each other. They make honey. And the most beautiful part, Ipsita? They don't harm the flower. Think about it. See, we are takers. When we create something, we are takers. The honeybee, in fact, helps the flowers pollinate. So that is Ananda, and that is the Ananda in the ecosystem. Gautam Buddha had a very interesting way to say it. He once told his disciple, who incidentally was called Ananda. Okay, so I thought I must tell you, because Ananda went to get water from a stream for the Buddha, and he got it, and he didn't get it. He said, Bante, the stream is very muddy. So Buddha said, go back. And he went back, and then he saw that the stream was pristine and clear. So he was surprised, and he got the water. So Bante said, see, it's just a question of settling down. It's just a question of settling down the thoughts. There, your Ananda is already flowing like a stream. You just have to get in touch with it. Guru Nanak says, simar simar sukh pava. Contemplate and you'll find your sukh. And sukh swarupa, Ananda swarupa, is the very essence of Indian spirituality. You are an embodiment of Ananda. You are nothing but Ananda. You are nothing but sukh. And there are one or two poems which I'd like to read, which I found very apt for this session. If I'm going too slow, please let me know, Ipsita, okay?
no, I think you're fine.
Let Ananda possess you. Let Ananda become your very vibe, your very vibration. Let it be at a cellular level, vibrate with Ananda. That's the only prayer required. You see, in Indian spirituality, they say that God gets so bored with everything that when somebody dies, he asks him, okay, what's the new story? God is also interested in joy, okay? So it's a very metaphorical, nice way to say it. So delight is everything, really. And I found that to be possessed, I found this very interesting. You say, Ipsita, you write, possessed. My soul makes a splash, landing into your soul, and goes right into the deep end. Underneath, I see with stark clarity a whole galaxy of pure white purity, true stars, cool blue hues, air uncorrupted, promises unpolluted, a place to rest. Fears, troubles, weariness, a myth or reality, still kept whole for my soul. Again, Ipsita, in a very beautiful piece called Lunar Loonings, you say, tonight, the iridescent moon sat still atop the shriveled branch, holding out beauty, peace, and love, and thoughts ebbed and flowed. Shall we then, you and I, embrace the night when all is shorn and dried and bare? Shall we then kiss despair and make a promise against all odds to try and rise from shadow's depth, from the pit of darkness toward light? And a very beautiful short piece of yours called True Blue, which reminded me of infinite Ananda. The great Guru Matsyendranath used to tell Gorakhnath, Gorakh, contemplate the infinite. Contemplate the infinite Ananda. That's your only meditation. And I found that you are fond of blue, and blue is the color of infinity. You write in True Blue, the color of grace, the essence of dignity, The expanse of eternity. True blue is what I seek in you. Thanks.
Thank you. I mean, just I'm so overwhelmed with your rendition and your, the contextual reference with my poetry. I'm just so overwhelmed. But prem and puja, right? Tagore has always said that the prem and puja goes hand in hand. So what is love but a bit of loving the divine? And I always believe that it is divine love manifested in different ways, whether you love your child or you love your sibling or you love your parents and grandparents, or whether you love your lover. Each is a way. um, it's a bit of divine love. So if there's love, there has to be that divinity in there. But that was totally beautiful. And what I have to remark over here is the beautiful allusions to the other religious sects. Be it Buddhism or Sikhism or Sufism, they all say the same thing, right? So all religions essentially talk about the same thing, different paths to the eternal destination. Let me, in the meantime, also read out a few comments. Anita Gupta ji says, wonderful and so beautiful. Ronnie Chatterjee says, Purnada, you haven't changed a bit, still the same prowess. Kavita Singhal says, love the session. Shohini says, so enriching, beautiful poem, Pushpita. Shohini, so honored, so honored. And Kabir Lal Banerjee says, nice. Roshni Sarkar says, wonderful. Chikappa Saha says, nice conversation. Kavita Singhal says, so much depth. Rituparna Khan says, embellishing. Anita Gupta says, feeling mesmerized. Vani Goyal says, I love the analogy to make it so relatable. Truly so. And Rajeshi says, lovely. Devinder Kaurji says, excellent. P.T. Goyal says, beautiful and inspiring. Gopa Bhattacharya says, love. And Vishnu says, beautiful poem. Thank you, everybody, for being with us. And so from Ananda, where do we go? Where do we go from Ananda? There's only one place to go from Ananda, right? Shanti. Because at the end of every prayer, there is Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Om Shanti, Shanti, peace. Again, an excerpt from your book here. Actualizing inner peace manifests dynamism within your mental and emotional state. You come into a state of powerful flow. You come into a state what the 𝐼𝐻𝑟𝑒 Upanishad in the Rig Veda describes as the dynamic attitude of keeping on moving forward no matter what. Charaivati, Charaivati. The happy person is a tranquil, cool and peaceful person. Have you ever seen a happy person without inner peace and inner coolness? It is impossible. Therefore, be cool first, be peaceful first. Then, dynamic happiness follows most naturally. Our personal ananda or bliss lies in knowing that we are a mere wave upon the great ocean of cosmic Paramananda, a supreme universal bliss. I'm going to reread that line. Our personal ananda lies in knowing that we are a mere wave upon the great ocean of cosmic Paramananda, a supreme universal bliss. With this thought, find your self-actualization. The peak experiences of life are always found through the profundity of peacefulness, love, and understanding. The rupture of feeling whole and alive is found in the idea that you are self-sufficient always, in the ability to generate peace. Peace of mind and heart generates the splendor of the dynamic attitude. It maximizes your ability to thrive, your ability to find affluence and richness in all that you do. Om Shanti. Tell us more, Pranay.
Om Shanti. And it's very funny because Shohini keeps reminding me that I don't implement even an iota of what I talk about, especially when it comes to the Shanti attitude and the peace attitude, So I guess that's the old story, of mankind. Yeah. So, Ipsita, It's actually complementary. If you look at the statues of Gautam Buddha, the traditional, the older ones, not the ornate, fancy ones later. Shiva. Look at the statues of Khajuraho. Look at the analogy of Shiva sitting on the mountain top. All these point towards a coolness of being. So the effect you have, for example, being in front of a Buddha statue, a well-made Buddha statue, something within you feels cool. Or in the front of a Shiva Murti, and it's very profound in Jain temples. If you go to Jain temples, it's profoundly cool, 𝐹𝑟𝑜𝑚. You just feel a thandak, a sheetalta, it's called a sheetalta, seeping into you. And if you become conscious of it, it's just profound. It's the other side of meditation, it's the other side of dhyan, what is called jhana in Pali. So Gautam Buddha called it jhana. And meditation not as a particular sit down, sort of a zazen sort of a thing, but in the quality of our being, which, like I said, I need to inculcate also. Yeah. Now, in the Vedantic way, they have a very interesting way to describe it, because it's one thing to talk about Shanti, but there's this little story about how to the master this student came, who was actually a prince, but he gave up everything. Okay. And he used to play the musical instrument very well when he was a prince. But what he used to do was he was too harsh on himself. So when others were meditating in the shade, he would meditate in the sun, or he would meditate in the rain. He was very harsh. So the Rishi went to him and he said, son, why are you so harsh on yourself? So he said, no, I want to achieve enlightenment very quickly. And the Rishi says, but you used to play an instrument, remember? The veena, I heard you used to play very well. He said, yes. He said, if the strings of the veena are too tight, what happens? He says, they snap. And if the strings of the veena are too loose, they don't play music. So that is the state of being which takes us towards Ananda. This tuning within, really, that's the analogy. It's like a relaxed awareness, an awareness and alertness, but a relaxed awareness, which kind of seeps not only within yourself, but within the ecosystem as a whole. And that's its larger sort of meaning. And also on the subject of Shanti, the ability, you see, 𝐹𝑟𝑜𝑚, it's very relevant for all times. It's very timeless. We live in an age of Ashanti. Okay.
True.
That's interesting, because the Kali Yuga is this age of Ashanti. Hurly-burly, all sorts of disasters at many times the speed of what humanity is used to. It's all become accelerated. The pace of Ashanti has become accelerated. Now, what is the means to accelerate Shanti? Now, in Taoism, which is actually a flip side of Tantra, it's said, Lao Tse says, be like water. Okay. He says water is the strongest thing in existence. It wears away the rock. The rock can't harm water. And water implies somewhere in our hearts, naturally flowing water, generally it implies coolness. Now, to take it further, Bruce Lee, who's a great Taoist in his thinking, he says, be like water, because water can fill any vessel. It can fill a cup, it can fill a saucer, it can fill any sort of pan. Okay. So in other words, the lesson is adaptability, especially in an age of Ashanti. And adaptability takes you this ability to deal with change, because we are in an age of very fast change. And on this topic, I found two poems of yours very relevant, actually. The first is called The Gust of Wind. Okay. It's very personal, I found, but it captures the essence, I think, of what we're talking about. So this is The Gust of Wind written by 𝐹𝑟𝑜𝑚. Okay. You were a gust of wind on a stormy day that touched me from head to toe and made my heart sing. The wind touzled my hair and played with it and kissed my lips as I closed my eyes. Against this mischievous onslaught, it wreaked havoc on me. Its cool touch, my cheeks, my chin, my clothes, I was lost in it. I was lost to it. I was lost with it. I inhaled you in You gust of wind, you were my breath, you were my primordial connect to another world. And just like that, you had your fill. Your gust was gone. I lost your song. You simply just moved along. I was left alone, caught in the rain, a slashing downpour that beat my skin. And even before I realized, I knew I had let myself be drowned in you. And now I run to save myself, to seek some place and to forget the charms, the flutter, the rush, and how my heart had a wild dance to the lying tunes of your fleeting romance. So I found the essence of fleeting time, change, etc. in this. And I found, as a culmination, your poem, The Shore of Life, Ipsita. It goes like this. Peace is when you and I meet on the shores of life, taking stock of the waves that comes towards us in soft rumbles. And we, sitting quiet, stare on with a smile, knowing that each wave carries within itself a storm that growls and roars and bursts forth, only to touch us in bubbly froth and joyous mirth of life, going to and fro in gentle rhythm.
Yeah, the flow of life, isn't it? Each wave carries within itself a storm, and then it becomes the froth and joy. That perhaps is the essence of life and the essence of all text. But so true. Well, it's almost, it's 52 minutes, it's 53 minutes as we speak. It's been quite some time. And we have a lot of people who were with us. So let me again read a few comments. Kartike Goyal says, love the analogies to physics. Anita Gupta says, heartfelt pride, both of you. Thank you so much, ma'am. Then Gopal Lahiri, who's a very senior poet, says, enjoyed listening to both of you. My mum says, absolutely true. Vani Goyalji says, Pranay, can you shed some light on coping with trying times that you're in? And my mom says, excellent narration. That's for you, Pranay. Totally excellent narration. I find myself mesmerized with my own poems when I hear you, I hear you read them. Vishwarup says, wow. Shidu sir, thank you so much. He's one of my mentors. He's there with us all the way from Oman. And he was my guest at our first episode. He's the founder of Motivational Scripts, which is the world's largest literary forum. And Pranay, if you haven't joined us yet, you must at Motivational Scripts. So it says hi to both of us. Thank you, Shiju sir, for being here. Devinder Kaur Gill, she's very, very important to me. Says brilliant Ipsita, so expressively rendered, Pranay. Rajarshi is a very, very dear friend, a poet himself, a very excellent poet, who also reads a lot of other poets' poems, including mine. Says 𝐾𝐫𝐵. Well, yes, indeed. So we've covered Shakti, Bhakti, we've covered Ananda, and we've covered this. And we are also coming towards the end of our beautiful conversation. I mean, I think, Pranay, you and I can go on for not just a few more hours, but for days and for months and for years, talking about something which is so vast as spirituality. And spirituality, which is always different in my mind from religion, because all religions essentially talk of the same basic concept, just different paths to the same destination. But we are inheritors of very ancient, very rich texts. And maybe if we just see spirituality in that light, that is what perhaps is the essence of spirituality, that we inherit this profound knowledge given to us through centuries, which perhaps can lead us to Ananda and then Shanti. Pranay, before we end, is there anything that you would like to share with us?
My gratitude to you and to everybody who's participated here. And I found this one piece of yours, Ipsita, to be very poignant when it came to human life, you know. It's called You Again. And Vani had asked a question about dealing with difficult circumstances, change and all. Eventually, you see, we are just visitors, you know. It's like the Cherokee Indians used to say that the eagle does not leave its footprints on the sky, ipsita, you know. So our footprints on the sands of time get washed away. But it's our inward consciousness, our inward bhakti, shakti, ananda, which carries the vast within, you know. So that vastness of being, which I think has been a quality of our session also, you know, it's kind of made us a joyful within. While doing it, it's been spontaneous. And I'd like to read this to sum it up, you know. You write, Ipsita, in You Again. Your voice reverberated in the empty room. Its clear, crisp pitch ringing loud. Its tenor I could once revel in. But today it rooted me to the spot. I stood by for a moment, stunned in disbelief, flushed, lost, not knowing what to do, caught between wanting to run to you and run away from you. I don't know what I said. Was I all right, contrite, dignified? Did I make my escape right? Escape what? Myself or you? Or this world between us? You and I will meet again. Yes, we will. And then our orbits will not clash. Life like it does in this life. We will meet again. We will meet again, perhaps in another universe, where there need be no escape, no distance, no space between us, where your voice and mine will speak with a smile. And our chatter shall fill the galaxy in abundant happiness. Till then, till I meet you.
You know, after that rendition, there's actually a pin drop silence. It is your voice just reverberates, saying, "Till I meet you again." What a wonderful session this has been. It is such a heart-to-heart, right? As classic conversation should be. Such a heart-to-heart. But before, I must again also acknowledge those who are with us. So Preeti Goelji says, enjoyed every moment, so proud of you, Pranay. So true, I think Pranay and I also enjoyed every moment. Basavi Pinaki says, so profound. Raj Lakshmi is a very dear friend of mine. She's a brilliant pianist, a brilliant designer. She says, excellent. So glad Raju is with us. Then Vishwarup says, wonderful poem. Thank you, dear friend. Devinder Kaur P says, wonderful. Thank you. Shohini Gupta says, what a beautiful session. Congratulations to both of you. Shohini, thank you. Yes, absolutely wonderful. I think I certainly had a wonderful time planning and executing this session. But I think the only thing that I missed was not having you and your beautiful music. So till we all meet again, that is Pranay, you and I, and where we will definitely talk spirituality. But the only thing that I think we missed this time is your beautiful music, Shohini. Vani Goel is beautiful poem, Dikshita, so much depth. Thank you so much, Vani ji. Vishwarup Ghosh says, excellent spiritual discussion. Thank you. Gopa says, wonderful session. And thank you to each and everyone who's been with Pranay and me through this last 1 hour. It's been our privilege to present. It's been wonderful to just talk to each other, but to also have all of you listening in and commenting with us. Roshni Sarkar says, very insightful as well as enjoyable. And Kavita Singhal, she says, wonderful session, thoroughly enjoying it. And Pranay, on that note, I can't thank you enough for being part of Cafe Conversations Session 2. And
my gratitude.
Shohini says, looking forward to meeting. Yes, I think I'm looking forward to going on the other side of this online meeting and actually meeting in person and discussing things face to face. My mom says, wonderful discussion. Indeed, wonderful discussion. It's been a pleasure. And till we meet again, you and I and Shohini, and till with us, with each and every viewer here, here's wishing everybody a fabulous Devi Paksha, a fabulous Sharadutsav and Durga Puja and the Puja season, and Bhakti, Shakti, Bhakti, Ananda, and bliss. Om Shanti Om. Good night, everybody. Thank you from Pranay and